are happening as the radio station, and I promise I won't ask you for money. And then it'll be my pleasure to introduce Renee Montagne. A couple of things going on. One is that our news station, KCFR, which is at 1340 AM today, is moving to the FM side of the radio, moving back to FM sometime this summer to 90.1 FM, and we're very pleased about that. And if you are a listener, you will hear plenty of warning to know when to reset your radio time. The other thing that's going on is very relevant to what you all are doing today, talking about untold stories, and that is that we have this thing called the Public Insight Network that has been going on for a few months, and you've heard about this too on the radio if you listen. And that has been a great, great tool to allow us to get in touch with people and to hear their stories, to enjoy hearing about their expertise and their opinion and their points of views about all kinds of topics that otherwise would not be a part of our reporting, and otherwise we wouldn't even know about it if there weren't this Public Insight Network. One reason that I bring it up is that in your registration package, there's a card that lets you know how to get involved with that. We would very much like to invite you to let us know what's important to you in the news, and to share what you know with us about the stories that we cover. And it's been amazing that in the few months really that we've been doing this, the people that we've been able to bring on the air, the stories that we've heard, the experiences, again, that otherwise would have been unknown to us and to all of our listeners, that 300,000 something people who listen to the radio hear something they wouldn't hear otherwise without this Public Insight Network. So please take a look at that card, and you're invited to sign up to it. The other thing that's going on, and again, we are really tickled about this, is that the Story Corps is coming to Colorado. If you've heard this on the air, you know that this is just a fantastic project that gets people together and invites people to tell their stories. Very often, what would otherwise be untold stories. That sometimes it's an older person speaking to somebody much younger about how, you know, I met your grandmother, or what it was like when I was young, or two people reminiscing about something that had happened to them, you know, maybe decades earlier, or maybe not so long ago. It's a great way to make terrific radio, which we've found out on the air, and also it becomes an archive. It's an oral history project. All of these people who tell their stories get, of course, copies of their own stories themselves, but then also a copy gets archived in the Library of Congress. So this is becoming this growing and already huge oral history of people telling their stories, ordinary people, telling what's important to them, often to a listener, not only the people on the radio, but the individual who's listening to them has never heard this story before either. I mean, you hear that all the time. The Story Corps has a couple of fixed locations, and they have kind of a rolling studio, and they're coming to Colorado this summer, to Denver and to Grand Junction, and we'll hear a lot more about that on the air, and be very, very glad to have a lot of Colorado stories as part of the Story Corps, and to have them on the air, and to have them part of this archive. The Story Corps, you can hear it on Friday mornings on Morning Edition, the morning news program. Morning Edition is the most listened to radio news program in the country, and that's saying something. And on KCFR, you hear that between 4 and 10 a.m. every weekday, and one of the people whose voices you hear very prominently on that program is Renee Montagne. Renee has been a contributor to NPR for something like 20 years. Most recently as one of the hosts of Morning Edition, and in that role, kind of inaugurating a new way of business for NPR, opening what they call NPR West, which is their studios and offices in California, really bringing an emphasis in NPR News, not just to the West Coast, but also this western part of the country that was not as emphasized before. She has reported from all around the world, very extensively, from South Africa, from Afghanistan, and from where she lives in Los Angeles. A series about homeless people and homelessness in California, a series from Afghanistan, a couple of the pieces, the news reporting, for which she's being honored today by the university. She is a companion on the radio to millions of people every single day, people for whom Morning Edition is a necessity. She's a great reporter, a teacher of journalism, and this year's recipient of the Anvil of Freedom. Please welcome Renee Montagne.